What up, y'all? It's your boy Martin, aka the Boxing Purist. Welcome once again to the Truth and Absolute channel, where I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me, good God Almighty. All right, y'all, happy Monday. I'm happy to be here. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and by all means, welcome and thank you for stopping by. If you've been subscribed to the channel, I appreciate your continued support. Thank you in helping me grow my channel little by little. Shout out to my man Lunatic Menace. Hit that like button, hit the dislike button. It's all love. Drop a comment down below. I love talking boxing with you guys. Like I like saying, you should be able to have a discussion, even a debate, and not leave butthurt, not leave trying to cancel the other out without the name calling, without the laughing emojis. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have probably been there. I know I have. You know what I'm saying? Just pulled up to the gym. Y'all want to hear a funny story before I get into this video? My damn gym bag got stolen out of my car the other night, bro. It wasn't, I mean, altogether, it might be maybe like $100, if that. Nah, maybe a little bit more. I had boxing gloves and all that and stuff in there. What really killed me, though, is that my kids got me some little, not high dollar ones, but, you know, little earbuds. You know, it's little JBL earbuds for Christmas, and they took that. But whatever, man. Those things could be replaced. Anywho, I'm here to talk about the fight that they announced this past weekend between Terence "Bud" Crawford and Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not mad at this fight personally. I'm just glad that Bud is fighting someone because, I mean, I love Bud Crawford. In my opinion, he's the best pound-for-pound boxer in the boxing world today. But we know that Bud will have long layoffs, and Bud is 36 years old, so sooner or later, father time is going to catch up. So I'm happy to see him active. The only thing is he's fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Now, I'm not sure about the weight class because if I remember correctly, Chris Eubank has fought all the way from 54 to 68. I may be wrong on that. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So in other words, I know he's bigger than Bud size-wise. Skill-wise, I don't know if this was the best fight to make for Bud. Reason being, y'all, is because, and this is Bud's own fault, he stayed with Top Rank way too long when they weren't giving him the fights. You know, they weren't giving him the big money fights. They weren't making the big money fights. Or not even big money fights, the legacy fights for him, you know? We all knew Bud had the skill just because we could recognize skill inside the ring. I think the first time that he actually proved his skill to the world was when he beat an undefeated, at that time, Yuri Gamboa, which was a good fight, and he came back because I think Yuri got him like the first 4 or 5 rounds. Of course, then Bud switched to southpaw, and then he got in him, ultimately stopped Gamboa, if I remember correctly. So, but of course the fans, the boxing public, kind of like the Canelo Benavidez situation, they've been calling for Bud to fight Jerome Boots Ennis. This is the tricky part about that. I think that the fight with Boots would have been good for Bud because, you see, although we know Bud got skills inside the ring, although we know that nobody at 47 to 54 could beat Bud, we know that. Even 60. You know what I'm saying? Once you get into 68, you're talking about a whole different size advantage over Bud, where he could possibly lose fights, not necessarily because he'll get outboxed, but that much size with another professional boxer is scary. It's scary. They hold a huge advantage over you. You know, it's kind of like a shooting guard playing one-on-one against a center. It's scary. You know what I'm saying? Those things do hold advantages, and weight classes are there for a reason. My thing with this is this helping the sport of boxing, or is this helping the sport? You see, could we say, does Bud have his legacy cemented already, right? Is Bud already in that category where we could say he's in cruise control, where he's made a name for himself, no fight could help, you know, make or break his resume? Is he to that level yet? You know what I'm saying? Has he done enough? Because there's a lot of names that he fought on his resume, just like Canelo, there's a few names on there that he fought that were already, you know, prime fighters. They weren't necessarily already like in their prime once he got to them. A lot of it is due to promotional, but at the same time, you know, he signed with Top Rank a couple of times, and they weren't giving him the fights. They weren't giving him no proof that they were going to change what they were doing with his career, and he still chose to fight with them, to stay with Bob Arum and Top Rank. But were those the best possible fight to make with Chris Eubank at this point? Is Bud's legacy already cemented enough where he could just do a Chris Eubank? I don't see this fight doing big money. I mean, unless they take this fight over to the UK, they sell it big, and they fight over there, I don't think that fight sells big here in the US. Because even though he beat Erol Spence Jr., and he beat him, I mean, he stomped Erol Spence Jr., his fan base didn't quite blow up after that. We know that Bud doesn't hold a huge fan base. Most of Bud's boxing fans is, you know, people that actually respect the sport, boxing purists. Your normal casual fan isn't jumping up and down ready to see a Terence Bud Crawford fight, right? I mean, I'm not reaching, right? I'm telling the truth here. So I don't know what a fight with Chris Eubank would do here in the US. In the UK, it would make sense because people will come out to support Eubank and they'll notice his Bud on the other side and it'll sell. But what about here in the States? I'm confused about that. And there's other fights that could have been made. You know, Jerome Boots Ennis is at 147. You got Jermell Charlo at 154. You know, I don't know if Jermell wants that fight. Of course, he looked horrible against Canelo just because of the lack of effort given. So maybe that fight was a turnoff to Bud, but it would have sold. It would have sold. Then, of course, you got the Tim Tszyu fight against Keith Thurman coming up here soon. We haven't heard anything about Bud, you know, fighting the winner of that. Of course, it's a possibility. Of course, the Chris Eubank fight could be a, you know, a stay busy fight until that fight happens. And maybe Bud could fight the winner if he would make it past Chris Eubank. That would be the only thing that made sense. But to simply fight Chris Eubank out of nowhere, I mean, I've never heard those two names mentioned together, Bud and Chris Eubank Jr. I've never even thought about that being a possible opponent for Bud. You know what I mean? So is this helping Bud? Is it time for him to kind of get on cruise control? Like, listen, I'm going to get a couple more fights. My legacy is cemented. Or is this kind of like a, damn, Bud, you went from Erol Spence to this? Now, of course, Bud was waiting for the Erol Spence rematch in the beginning. We'll give him that. We all thought we were going to get the rematch. There was somewhat talk about weights, if it could be at 54 coming out of Errol Spence's side. You know, they were talking about all that. Of course, Bud saying, I'm the A side, I'll pick the weight. Ultimately, the fight did not happen. Bud won that chapter. Out of the two juggernauts, of course, Bud came out way on top over Erol Spence Jr. But now Chris Eubank Jr. Of course, Crawford was trying to get the Canelo fight. But see, that was nothing but a payday fight. You know what I'm saying? That's a win-win for Bud, lose-lose for Canelo. So, of course, that wasn't going to happen. It'd be two big names, but just two whole different weight classes. This is not a weight class apart. That would have been 3 weight classes apart. That's crazy. That's crazy. And again, I don't know if it would have done amazing numbers, right? Canelo is going to bring the crowd, but I don't know. It just didn't have the same ring to it, right? So I want to hear your guys' opinion on this, right? Is Bud to the point in his career where he could just cruise? Or do you guys think that this fight is to set up a potential next big fight against the winner of Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu coming up here soon? Let me know what you guys think, man. It's just something that was on my mind. I was going back and forth. Should I put a video out about it? And I'm like, you know what? Why not? I know I got some true boxing fans on my channel. I really want to hear from you guys, man. So drop a comment down below. I want to hear what y'all think of it. And remember, y'all, kick the bias to the side. I talk about plenty of fighters that I'm not necessarily fans of, but you got to keep it real in having discussions. So let me know what y'all think, man. Drop a comment down below. Happy Monday. Enjoy your day. Much love. God bless. And remember, y'all, the truth shall set you free. Peace.